This is Rotten Leaves, the deleted scenes of Lynn, Forest of Hatred. Across to the rescue. This is the biggest deleted scene I made a large amount of plans for. There's a scene in the movie where Tommy finally fights Lynn head on. It moves from him fighting to him escaping fairly quickly when Lynn grabs him by the throat and slams him down, making him throw up. Originally, Lynn would have followed that up by grabbing the back of his head and splashing it down to the pool of his own vomit. Tommy would have then thrashed around in panic and drawn across to the ground or in a nearby log, either purposefully or by accident. I deleted this scene from further development because it would have made everything too easy for the main character. If just drawing across would banish away the evil, what would be the conflict anymore? Besides, it would make the ties with the Christianity very apparent and protection for an evil far too easy. Now, it stays vague. Slamming on the trees. There was supposed to be a scene before Lynn's actual reveal, where she grabs Tommy by the ankle and he trips, breaking his nose on a tree. I didn't use it in the final movie because that would have felt repetitive since there was already plans for scenes where he falls down hard. Besides, the tree after the slam would have been very bloody, which would have been a bit unrealistic. Now, I'm not against bloody violence, but repetitiveness? I try to avoid that, unless for dramatic effect or seriously cutting down production costs. Explanation for the eyes. In the swamp wandering scene, some eyes appear in the background looking at Tommy as he walks on and on. Originally, the deal with that was supposed to be that Lynn was mutilating forest animals and making them her new spare seeing eyes. I was pretty sad to have to cut it off, but in the end, the reasons for removal were far too convincing. The first reason is that it would have been really difficult to portray visually, especially without showing Lynn too clearly so early, in her demonic form, that is. Secondly, it could have broken pacing and focus easily, including in that would have been her repairing and upgrading her body with the corpses and skeletons from the swamp. She'd have to duck them up and rip them apart, and I removed the scene from the very same reasoning. Lynn's full human death. I originally planned Lynn's human death to be far more detailed and gory. Eventually I decided against it and left something up for the imagination. Tommy hits her with a hammer in the left side of her head, partially crushing her skull and bursting her left eye. In the movie, the actual impact isn't seen. Developing Matt's death. This gory scene went through many changes before becoming what it became in the end. Here's what could have been. Minor changes in chronological order of appearance. 1. The beginning view would have been from behind the trees. 2. There would have been more emphasis on the messiness of eating the burger in the car. 3. The nightmare was supposed to be earlier and actually saw the brass ball crushing a fetus, after which blood would have spread towards the viewer. After that, Tommy would have woken up in the armchair, and his nose would have bled to the floor. 4. There was supposed to be even more drinking, but I thought the audience already realized the point. 5. Some tweaks to the photograph scene. The camera would have gone a bit curvier, and the photos themselves would have been a bit different. The most changed was the one with the birthday cake. It took a lot to get it right. One idea was to have it be secretly taken photo with Lynn shocked to see and hear the camera. That would have taken away from the surprise shot and the dramatic reveal of the movie. Which is the reason why I didn't do that. 6. There would have been ice inside of the house. I decided that it would have been too soon. 7. I decided to not animate Tommy pulling down the shades because I had to save time and resources. Instead, I just had a sound effect play. 8. I originally planned using 2 fighters with unique designs and actual animated fight in the samurai movie, but I used some of my original stock footage instead. I only did the bare minimum to use a framework for the fight because, well, I had to make it look very cheap. So I did it for very cheap. 9. It took some tries to get Matt's home right. I'd also planned some insert shots, but got them for being quite unnecessary in the end. 10. Lynn was originally supposed to first appear between the Whitfields after killing a bunny. The reason for changing that was delaying the reveal and using the forest jets better. 11. I thought of using a wider, far-away shot from the swamp, but then I realized that it would have ruined the effect with the eyes and the intimate strong feeling of danger. 12. I planned a scene of Tommy falling and the blood from his broken nose creating a 5-pointed star in the ground. I removed it for being quite obvious. 13. An alternate for Tommy finding a cross would have been him finding a deep hole in the ground instead. 14. An alternate for the end of Tommy's fight with Lynn. He decapitates her and afterwards walks off with her slowly reforming herself in the background. This scene was both beyond my abilities as an animator and a cliched one. Besides, didn't make that much sense in retrospect. 15. Lynn's ritual room went through many phases before I decided on the final design. The goal was to create something believable, recognizable, and makeshift. I mean, it was a secret after all. 16. The condition of Tommy's corpse kept changing during the production, mainly because I shifted the time frame. Originally, Tommy would have been a skeleton when he was found. Since it would have been strange how no one did for so long, I changed the scene. Now, Tommy's friend would be there in the woods the next day. The body would be far more recognizable and more gritty and artistically challenging. I had also a lot of fun making it as good as possible. 17. Originally, Ruby was picking blueberries, but they were both unfitting to the latter entries in this series, and too small to turn into eyes believably. 18. I originally planned Matt's dialogue during his death to be more of the same that Tommy said when his corpse was found by Ruby. I changed it to make him more human and to make the scene more tragic. He just tells Ruby to go away. 19. In the ending credits, I originally planned a sort of one of Ruby's rubber boots, maybe with some blood dripping on it. Then I decided just to go with pictures of the characters in chronological order for the credits. That was, well, for making it more traditional and also more interesting. The sort of everything coming together. So, that's all. Thank you for joining me.